TikToker Smug Puppy has experienced paranormal activity in her home since 1997. The activity comes in waves, lying dormant for years before spiking. This is one of those spikes. At first, she and her dad are just enjoying their morning.
Are you enjoying my donkeys, Dad?
But then this happens a moment later.
Oh my Jesus.
It hit me. It hit me right around the face.
I can't believe I've just caught that on camera.
The ghost confronts him, knocking the snack right out of his hand. Here it is again. This is the first time the ghost has ever done this to anybody. Some in the comments think the slap sounded off. Others think the ghost doesn't want people eating junk food. I think this looks legit, and if the ghost is starting to physically harm the home's residents, then this ghost needs to be removed from this home. Can 2 separate security cameras glitch at once? Or is this The Matrix Revisited? Posted to the very spooky video subreddit, a woman in Colombia appears to have vanished, and her vanishing act was captured from 2 angles. From one angle, she is walking down the sidewalk. She pauses for a moment, then walks a bit more before suddenly zapping from view. A second video captures her at an angle from the front. Again, she walks forward before disappearing into thin air at the corner of the sidewalk. Did she just teleport to another dimension? Some in the comments think this was just CCTV taking photos every few seconds, which were sped up for viewing. That way the girl could have disappeared in the so-called vanishing act. Others think this girl obviously has the gift of invisibility. What do you think is going on here? Let me know in the comments. Imagine you were walking past an abandoned factory when you saw this. Edge Ninja published this terrifying video in March of 2017, although it was recorded all the way back in 2013. Edge Ninja explains, the factory, as it was dubbed, had been an eerie fixture in our neighborhood since before my family even moved in. In 30 years, I never saw a single person or vehicle go in or out. The YouTuber walks around the building to confirm that the lights are flashing in multiple wings. Even creepier as Edge Ninja zooms in on a light in a stairwell near the end of the video. YouTuber Oreo the Wolf Fox points out a ghoulish image in the left window, what appears to be a face. Cue the shivers. This building is no longer abandoned. It was renovated and is now used as a factory for a watch company. One wonders if the new factory workers have crossed paths with this creepy figure in the window. A YouTuber named Backpacker Tampan and his friend Tom go ghost hunting in Indonesia. They want to explore an old hotel, but to get there they have to go through some scary woods and cross a narrow bridge over rushing waters, a bridge with some sketchy areas missing. A few planks too many if you ask me. When they get inside the hotel, they find themselves in awe of the sheer size of the place and somehow get split up. This room in particular absolutely refuses to stay in focus, and it feels to him like someone could be near. And someone in the comments says that a shadow person is hanging around the doorway outside of the room 4 seconds later. It's nothing more than his reflection if you ask me. Weird but not paranormal. But then he records movement across the doorway at the exact moment he thinks Tom is near.
Maybe he's downstairs. Oh, very dark, I can see. Tom?
Whatever this is we're looking at, it isn't Tom. It seems to follow him from floor to floor wherever he goes. Eventually, Tom is found, and together at that moment, they sense a third presence standing next to them.
Okay, we might gonna record here, I think. Can you do it with your phone? Recorder.
I think it sounds like editing because you can hear a bass line if you listen closely, like it's part of a song.
Can you do it with your phone?
Tell me if you think this really happened, or do you think it was added later?
Can you do it with your phone?
My Dark Journal is a collection of abstract videos that many people are certain contain hidden messages and deeper meanings, perhaps even clues about a woman who lost her life. The latest video, simply called Wither, starts off with a snowy lamppost and ends with a strange woman walking down the stairs. In the description is a link to a video on a completely different YouTube channel. This video, called Whisper, has images of evil looking building schematics and what appears to be some type of old language. I don't expect anyone to really be able to translate the words on that last page, but I'm hoping that someone can. Anyway, in the description box of the Whisper video is a link to yet another video on a YouTube channel called The Oracle of Lies. This third and final video is called Wayne. It shows an old desolate road and more weird imagery, including the same mysterious woman from the first video, Wither. I'm not sure if there are any hidden messages in any of these videos, but there certainly could be. No fourth video is linked, and the odd trifecta ends there. This could be a simple art montage, or it could be the real thing, maybe even something from the depths of the dark web. If you are able to make sense of any of these videos, even just a single part, then please let me know what it all means. Based out of the southern city of D'Armanville, Exploring Alabama is a YouTube channel that takes on the creepiest abandoned places in the entire state. One such video is an abandoned church that's in the early stages of decay. Inside is a mess but still structurally sound. Some rooms are too dark and creepy for him to willingly go into, so he mostly stays in the more well-lit areas and continues to explore until he gets his share of footage. As he's leaving, something compels him to take one last look in the main room, and that's when he records it. Some are calling this a mysterious creature, while others say this is only a stray cat and nothing more. It's too far away to tell for certain, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about. So what do you think? A YouTuber named Wokuncha is on a mission to explore the most haunted places in Pakistan faster than anyone in the history of ghost hunting. Since August of 2019, he has investigated no less than 60 paranormal locations, but for time's sake, let's focus on these top 3 scariest ones. In September of 2019, he travels to a house possessed by demonic desert spirits called jinns. He takes a single step in the first room and already feels a cold presence warning him to stay away. Then the door across the room closes so slowly you have to watch the shine of his camera light to see it. When he fearlessly takes a few steps forward, a ghostly white arm reaches for the knob to shut it the rest of the way, at which point his flashlight turns itself off. The same door clatter loses again behind him. Someone's on the other side, but whether it's a ghost or a member of his crew is what I want to know. Also, what is he saying here to provoke such an angry response?
यहाँ कोई मौजूद है? क्या अपने होने का सबूत दे सकते हैं? अल्लाहु अकबर।
Nobody is on the other side of the door, at least no one that I can see, though I suppose someone could be ducking under the camera here to make it look that way. But that's when he sees it, the thing responsible for closing the door, a white apparition who glides away without a word. It's creepy for sure, but also questionable, because he sees the ghost and then enters the room looking the exact opposite way for some reason, which makes me think that they could have digitally added the ghost later. Next, he hears something so eerie and insane that it almost has to be edited. Let me know if you think it's legit, because if so, then this is pretty much proof of the supernatural. Voices, perhaps children, whose lives the jinn has snuffed. The ghost hunter understandably seems reluctant to go any further, and perhaps senses a great danger is near. As it turns out, he's right. No one seems to be inside of this room, but as he timidly rounds the corner, I think I see this gray figure in a cloak standing on the other side. The djinn itself, it's blurry, yes, but something nonetheless seems to be looking straight at him. The top arrow is its face, and the bottom its outstretched hand, palm up. He flees then and there, but on February 2nd of 2020, returns to the home for another look. I think they might be saying that something is on the roof here, but I need your help to translate and make sure.
ये देखें आपके सामने
Apparently, whatever it is, it's now in the room with them, so they step outside. They take a short breather, but as soon as they're back inside, the trouble starts once again.
ये गिरा हुआ ये अचानक ही गिरा है नीचे
I'm pretty sure he's asking for confirmation of a ghost during this part, and soon he gets a response.
देखिए आप जो भी हैं मैं आपको नुकसान पहुंचाने यहाँ नहीं आया
At which point this chain on a nail begins to sway back and forth for well over 10 seconds completely on its own. Doors slam shut, but Wokan Cha is determined to go further than before, and eventually he comes across a bizarre straw hut that fills him with unexplainable dread. The earth looks recently disturbed. Anything could be buried beneath the rubble. He's contemplating the structure when the spirits become restless.
अस्तगफिरुल्लाह
Or maybe it's just a string tied to a tree. Either way, he seeks shelter in an area that's just as haunted as everywhere else, and soon he hears voices coming through the walls. At this point, you would think nothing could stop this fearless explorer. Doors slamming, groaning moans, and objects moving on their own aren't enough to make him leave, but the part that scares him the most is literally nothing at all. A presence that we can't see and only he can feel. Is this part real or just good acting?
अजीब सी कंडीशन है अल्लाह अकबर अस्तगफिरुल्लाह मुझे धक्का दिया किसी ने
He turns around and looks at the corner as if something had just brushed by. Whatever touched him leaves him too scared to re-enter. I've saved the creepiest one of all for last, a paranormal adventure that takes place on October 23rd, 2019. That's when Wokan Cha travels to a site full of unmarked burials. Many of them are child-sized. It's a calm night and crickets chirp as he says a few words that I would like translated because they sound very somber and sorrowful.
अल्लाह ताला की मेहरबानी से मैं बिखरी से हूँ
The stillness of the night is soon replaced by a rushing whisper that sounds lonely and paranormal, a rising cry of anguish possibly originating from the other side of life.
था वो मुझे अस्तगफिरुल्लाह वो मुझे न
As he reaches an old memorial, he hears another voice call out, a near laugh. And approximately 2 minutes later, the same voice laughing. His nervous fear is overpowered by a morbid curiosity to stay and see who the voice belongs to. I was halfway expecting a hand to bust forth from the earth, but what happens next is just as frightening.
अल्लाह अकबर अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अस्तगफिरुल्लाह मेरे दोस्तों वो साया सा है मेरे दोस्तों वो
He checks around the side of the building and sees nothing. He's all alone again, just himself in the graves. I wish Wokan Cha all the best, but at the same time really hopes he slows down to a safer rate of exploring. If he keeps this up, it's only a matter of time before something really bad happens to him. And at this rate, he might not even make it to his 100th video. Why would you ever chase a ghost? Ask these children who came across one while playing at night. The description of this video explains that a week after a woman took her own life, the residents claim that a female ghost with long hair was plaguing the area after curfew. Children were trying to catch a bird in the area at night when instead they found the ghost and gave chase. In the footage, the children are crying out and laughing as they chase a figure dressed in white along the railway. The figure is seen in a distance in the darkness. It appears to be walking slowly, swaying slightly. The boy follows just as slowly behind it, keeping a safe distance from the figure. Kids in the background eventually start crying. At the end of the video, the figure leaves the tracks and disappears in the darkness. If you ask me, they're lucky they didn't catch it. A creepy figure was spotted at an old villa near a graveyard. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in April of 2022. What would you do if you encountered this figure in the night? Walking past the graveyard, the cameraman enters the grounds of a villa that is said to have been abandoned 2 decades ago. After the sudden passings of 3 family members, villagers claim to hear sounds emanating from the place at night. Rumors of dark magic cast in the area also make these grounds forbidden. As he's exploring them anyway, he captures a shadow figure walking off. He walks after him but doesn't see anyone. Later, he hears crying. When he opens the door, he finds this holy terror. Can he escape it, or will this sound always be with him? I think this is the type of event that buries deep in the psyche. Monica and Stella are ghost hunting sisters on a paranormal YouTube channel called Project Darkside, and they think this haunted hotel in their home country of Croatia is one of the scariest abandoned places they've ever gone exploring as part of a paranormal investigation. The first floor of the haunted hotel is creepy enough, but before they can even make it to the next level, they find their urban exploration has gone wrong. Scary moments lay ahead because these crumbling steps with no rails are the only way up, and that's when out of darkness...
I can do it like this. It's okay. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
comes a scary, loud banging noise from somewhere off camera. The paranormal activity seems to be much stronger upstairs because they begin to feel watched and see shadows moving around corners and around hallways. A ghost is near. They can feel its uneasy aura as they squint into the darkness, unaware of the scary shadow person they've already caught on tape. This paranormal evidence looks solid at first, but I think the best explanation is that it was actually one of the sister's shadows. It kind of looks like she walks in front of the flashlight and creates this spooky shadow person that may have been mistaken for a real ghost sighting. The paranormal investigation continues all the way to the roof, and that's when the ghost hunters claim to hear weird noises of a spirit underfoot.
There's a ghost walking around back and forth in this courtyard and is on camera red-handed. I'm not believe this. There's literally a ghost on camera right now. There's literally a ghost on camera right now. Walking around back and forth in this. Are you still recording?
Followed by more scary noises right behind them.
Oh god. I was there.
As they stare into the darkness, they think they see a mysterious figure and hear another scary noise. I don't see or hear anything, to be honest, but this video is what ended their paranormal investigation out of fear. Watch these final scary moments and tell me if you see or hear anything strange caught on video.
What? What the f is that?
Quiet door! I just saw
Like I said, I could be missing something paranormal, but all I see is a dark hallway, no ghost. At this point, they could have been nearly hallucinating from fear. So overall, I'm not sure about this creepy video. It's midnight, everyone's asleep, except for this ghost, published by The Haunted One in August of 2020. This short clip shows a thirsty ghost having a nightcap. Watch closely as the bottle on the counter moves ever so slightly on its own. It slides from the middle of the island to the very edge. Is this ghost about to smash some glass, or is he just playing mind games? Either way, I definitely think this place is haunted. Dark Ghost is a Russian paranormal investigator sharing his story on YouTube since May 2017. He has traveled to some of the most terrifying locations in Russia to document evidence of ghosts and other bizarre phenomena. By popular request, he returned to a home he had previously investigated and had gotten a lot of response from whatever was living there. According to legend, someone or multiple people are buried underneath. Immediately upon entering, there is still furniture in the house largely untouched, giving the impression the house was vacated rather quickly. The bed even remains done. It's not long after his arrival he receives his first sign he is not alone. Loud knocks from the living room behind him. He ventures to the kitchen to investigate, where he is greeted by a door swinging open on its own. The room the door leads to is full of junk and what appears to be a table and bed frame, but nobody is inside. Curiously, there is a trapdoor to the attic, which he decides to later investigate. After setting up his equipment, he ventures back to the attic door to have a look inside. Furthermore, it's doubtful anyone is hiding up there as it's too cramped, and the only way to open the trapdoor is from below. Nothing happens for quite some time until he is nearing the end of an experiment using a camera flash rapidly firing. After a final flash, a loud sliding noise is heard from under the bed, causing him to retreat. When he gathers the courage to return, he discovers evidence that a box under the bed was moved, as seen by the disturbance in the dust on the ground. Moments after this discovery, he is startled by the same noise under the second bed to his left. He briefly retreats outside to compose himself and eventually returns to the living room. Once again, nothing happens for some time until he goes to retrieve another piece of equipment.
Так, мне нужно сейчас будет ИГФ.
As he ventures back to the kitchen, he is startled when the accordion on a side table suddenly goes off. He watches in shock as it continues to squeeze in and out, the haunting sound emanating from it. This almost proves too much and he rushes into the kitchen, closing the door behind him. However, whatever has been with him this entire time goes after him, and the door once again quickly opens, almost as if it has been kicked open. He kicks the door back to see if there's a response, and he gets one in the form of a door behind him rattling. Clearly terrified, he retreats outside. After some time, he explains he stayed away for about an hour before he returned inside. When he returns, he sets up a spirit box session, asking questions as a camera continuously takes photos of him. Despite asking questions for several minutes, it takes some time before he receives his first response. Almost immediately after, he hears what appears to be shuffling or possibly whispering from beneath the bed next to him. After asking if whatever is there can show itself, the wardrobe behind him opens on its own.
Вы можете показаться?
without him noticing at first. After the spirit box replied, "Not enough strength," followed by "to pass away."
Умереть.
When he asks what it meant, it replies, "For you."
Не хватает сил.
Well, it seems to make sense the reply would be "not enough strength" in responding to its manifesting. Following up with "to pass away" and "for you" seems ominous and terrifying. Could the spirit be referring to its desire to take their lives? When he asks what it means, it replies, "and you will see us." By now, Dark Ghost can hide the fear on his face, even from behind his face mask. His mannerisms are now that of anxiety. After several moments of silence, he asks if it is still there, only to receive an answer of ear-piercing electrical screams.
Вы здесь? Вы здесь?
At this point, he decides to end the investigation out of fear for his safety. Clearly, whatever remains there is unwelcoming and wants to be left alone. Thomas Hayes has been hearing scary loud sounds lately. Strange scratching noises coming from inside of the wall, right next to where he sleeps at night. Anxiety mixes with fear as he dismantles the electric socket to investigate what's gone wrong behind the walls. And let me tell you, the source of the scary sounds is beyond creepy. He tries not to scream as he finds the wall is filled with an endless number of fried insects. Roaches to be exact, and look, at 30 seconds he absent-mindedly flicks one off with his finger. That's not exactly the reaction I was expecting, and certainly not what I would have done, but I guess he was shocked at the time. Speaking of, I can't help but wonder how safe it is to prod around an electrical socket with a screwdriver in the first place. I know he probably turned the power off, but I feel like it could still hold a charge. Someone tell me in the comments. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. This is some serious EMF gone wrong. Published by Dark Life in March of 2022, Dennis held an EMF session in the basement of this old house in which girls are said to have gone missing. After spending some time in the basement, he hears something in the wardrobe. As he reaches toward it, the wardrobe starts to rock aggressively. Dennis runs from it, and in doing so appears to hurt his leg amongst all the rubbish in the basement. He looks back for a moment but decides it's best to leave the house. And after seeing this shell of a haunted home, wouldn't you? Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
Out and about, what dangers might we bump into? Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting.
That's one thing. Someone give me another one then.
Strangers.
Strangers.
I'll just move Johnny's home.
Right. What we're gonna do? We need to. I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. Exploring with Darknet is a YouTube channel dedicated to recording abandoned locations in all of their various forms. This time the group finds themselves inside of a large building that looks to have once been a manufacturing plant of some sort. While checking out various pieces of rusted machinery, they can't shake the feeling that they are being watched. Distant phantom lights follow them and snuff out randomly. On the second floor they come across a room that appears to be strewn with heaps of garbage and adult diapers. At one point they come across another room containing more trash and a woman's right shoe. The left one is nowhere to be found, so perhaps there was a struggle here. If you can translate the writing on this wall, please let me know what it says and also what language it is in. It might give us some clues as to exactly what happened here, and maybe even make some sense out of what happens next. They then come across a final room on the second floor with a dirty curtain draped across the doorway. They take a peek underneath and are greeted with a final scare. Listen closely again and you can hear someone screaming behind them as they pursue. Their wails echoing off thin corridor walls. An investigator from the Liberty Independent Ghost Hunters of Texas is exploring the haunted old Lavaca jail when they capture some scary stuff happening right in front of their camera.
What the? Are you for real?
A paranormal mist fills the room and it's not his breath because it comes from off to the side, not in front of him. Also, at 48 seconds, the colors dim and the camera blurs as if trying to focus on a ghostly presence. The Texas ghost hunter is freaked out and doesn't stick around to see what comes after the paranormal mist and ghost orbs. I've seen a lot of paranormal investigations before, and something about this one looks real. I think he was really scared and had a genuine paranormal experience. This little 2.5 foot tall fuzzy robot is called Leonardo, or Leo for short, and in 2002 when everyone was playing PlayStation 2 and watching DVDs, this robot was already learning how to think, feel, and respond. Leo was created at the MIT Media Lab in Massachusetts. I know that doesn't look scary at all, but that's the whole point. It's designed so you won't want to be afraid of it. They want you to come closer so that it can learn from you. There's something disturbing about a fuzzy robot exploiting our natural trust for cute animals as a way to help it learn more about interacting with people. I doubt that they would need to downplay its appearance so greatly if the concept of AI wasn't so dangerous and scary to begin with. Anyway, Leo quickly learned how to do stuff after being shown only one time.
Press the red button.
Note how in this next part, Leo is not asked to press the buttons at all, but does so anyway.
Have you learned to turn all the buttons on? Very good.
Again, Leo was not asked to press them. It was asked if it knew how to press them. It correctly assumed that was what she was going to ask of it next. Even today's robots can barely predict what humans want, but this robot, who is 2 decades old, is able to make its own decisions. Next, the scientist flies an object around so that Leo can learn how to track things with its mounted camera eyes. Much like Leo's harmless appearance, they use an Elmo doll to disarm our senses. It's able to track this Elmo doll without problem. It learns how to identify and track red things if asked. Here, it remembers Big Bird's face and is able to find Big Bird when asked.
Can you find Big Bird?
Leo has a neutral expression at first. When the scientist says that Big Bird is a friend, Leo likes him.
Hey Leo, look at Big Bird. Don't you think he's great?
It can also be trained to not like something.
Leo, Cookie Monster is very bad. He's very bad, Leo. He's a scary monster who wants to get your cookies.
If Leo can be taught how to fear or love, then he could also be taught how to hate and destroy. Think about what a bigger robot could do with these abilities. It could be trained to be a police robot, a self-learning face-scanning cyborg that can be taught to do great good or great evil. Or even more terrifying, maybe it could come to the conclusion of what's good and what's evil on its own. Leo could be an early prototype for all that and more. Again, this is just an opinion, but it creeps me out to keep robotic AI looking as soft, cuddly, and unassuming as possible. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.